All right. Well, we got a wonderful bird today. We got a little small bird, kind of a little cutie today. It's
What bird? What bird?
a little cutie from Africa known as the red-billed Quelea. And
You.
there's one, and there's another one, and there's another one, and there's another one, and there's a lot of them in this picture.
There's quite a
So
few. Yeah.
so the photographer found quite the flock today. They
Mm-hmm.
are many. That's a lot of little quailias, and well, red billed. I guess you can kind of tell what they're called. That they're kind of like
Yeah.
kind of have the same coloration as like a sparrow, but they got kind of fin shaped beaked. They're bright red, kind of cool. They're kind of cool. So, as I said, they are from Africa. So, as you can see here, they are in sub-Saharan Africa. And kind of the big areas where you see that they are, those are like the thick jungles. So, like, they're not really in the thick jungles of, like, the Congo and stuff like that, but very much in the savannas of, like, Kenya, Tanzania, all the way down to South Africa. Lots of those countries are going to see these little fellas flying around. So, pretty widespread, because you got to remember, Africa's big. Africa's really big.
Yeah.
But they are just small little fellas, only about 4.7 inches long, with an average 5.1 inch wingspan. So just tiny little guys. I mean, a little bit bigger than like a house sparrow or a finch, but not quite as big as a robin. Weighing about half an ounce to a little under an ounce. As typical with a little bird, living about 2-3 years in wild is their average lifespan. But they usually die unnatural deaths because it's a scary world out there for a little bird, and there's a ton of predators and a ton of things that eat them. Because one in captivity actually lived up to be 18 years old. So,
Wow.
yeah, a natural lifespan is probably about 12 to 15 years, but they can live up to 18 in captivity. And but yeah, in the wild, yeah, 2 or 3 years is about all they're gonna get. They obviously are a passiform, the little tiny perching bird. That's the most common type of bird in the world. And the family of Plosidiidae is a weavers. So
Mm.
in a previous bird of the day, I covered the sociable weaver. So they are in the same family as those little guys. And well, we'll get into why they're called weavers, because it's how they build their nests. They literally take long strands of grass and they like weave a little basket. They're the little basket
Aw.
weavers.
That's so
So
cute.
yeah, so they'll gather around and they'll just get twigs and leaves and grasses, and they will weave a little nest, and then inside that little basket they'll gather like mud and smaller stuff and make a nice little cup for their eggs. They find like areas where there's like a whole lot of trees, and though they will nest around the same area as many of the other weavers, and some of these colonies of nests can have literally millions of nests. Like, I mean, that's an extreme example, but on average, there's going to be hundreds or thousands of nests within like the size of a football field. It's
Mm.
crazy. It's crazy. And the interesting thing is that the males do all the nest building. And part of what they do is they build a nest to be like, hey, baby, look at my awesome nest. Look at this cool nest I built. And the females will be like, he did build a good nest. I will let him have my babies. And then they will mate. But also, the color of the plumage has to do with it. So during the mating season, the males, when they, when they molt their feathers and grow new ones, the ones that they grow during the mating season are going to be brighter in color and more vibrant. So that's another thing the ladies are looking for.
Yeah.
But they are not monogamous birds in the slightest. They are going to have a mating pair every season, but ornithologists have found that a male will mate with a female, and that female will lay eggs. But that male's also probably going to be mating with other females, and that female is also going to be mating with other males. They sleep around a lot. So they found in 80% of nests, the male that is tending to them is not the biological father. But you think of it as a species survival standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't really matter. As long as like there's a father there to help protect the nest, help incubate and feed the chicks, it doesn't really matter if they're his or not, because even though he's helping raise some other male's chicks, well, some other male is helping raise his chicks.
His chicks. Yeah.
So yeah, it's
It just makes sense, I feel
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it works out for them.
from a good dad standpoint.
Yeah, and the dads
Just
are
raise
good
the chicks.
dads. Yeah, so like, he'll incubate while the female will go out and eat, and then she'll return to the nest, and he'll go out and eat, and they take turns, and then they both will feed the little babies when they're born. Most clutches are going to be 3 eggs, but sometimes there's only 1, but also seen as many as 5. And then they'll often have multiple clutches per year, so they'll 6 or 9 is not uncommon for these little fellas, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. It's not like they have like a winter season, so their mating season can end up being a little bit longer because they don't have to worry about winter in most of where they live.
That's true.
And then if a baby is born, a baby that's going to be born this spring, well, next spring they'll be ready to have their own babies. So they reproduce quickly, real quickly.
It's good all around. Lots of all that fun reproducing.
Yep. But most of the year, they eat seeds and grains and stuff like that. But during mating season, they tend to eat more bugs, especially the females, because that protein helps them grow the eggs inside their belly. But then also, they feed their babies almost exclusively bugs, because that bug protein is good to help a little baby bird grow. So it's kind of interesting. Different time of year gives them different diets. They switch it up. Now, I mentioned in that first picture that there are many. I mentioned that they have millions of nests in a colony. And I've mentioned how quickly they breed, because there's a little thing about these birds that makes them special. Something that makes them stand out amongst all birds. And the fact is that they are the most populous wild bird in the world. There are more red-billed Queleas than any other type of wild bird, with an estimated population of about 1.5 billion.
Holy shit.
Billion. That is a lot. The only bird that outnumbers them in population is the domestic chicken. But I mean, for obvious reasons.
Like, duh.
There's like 80 billion domestic chickens. 79 billion of whom live in factory farms. So it's like, yeah. But no, these guys even outnumber, other than chickens, they outnumber all other domesticated birds. So turkeys, geese, ducks. Sorry, there's more Queleas, because 1.5 billion is so many. And there's just so many of them. And so, yeah, that first picture you saw and this one right here, this is typical. They live in giant flocks of millions. They're so many, and they're actually there's so much that they're actually one of the few songbirds that's actually captured and eaten, especially the Hadjarai tribe of Tanzania, I believe it was. Actually, like, literally will cast a net out into a swarm of these, and then will like use their feathers for like decorative stuff. And then make, like, I guess, little chicken nuggets out of them. I don't know.
Yeah, little fried chicken wings.
Yeah.
Basically. The whole bird.
But also, because of their diet, their poop is actually a pretty good fertilizer. And with this many of it, there's enough of them that their guano can be collected and used as a pretty handy fertilizer. So I think that's kind of neat. And then farmers kind of have a love-hate relationship with them. Because during breeding season, they are excellent pest control. They eat all those bugs. And then during non-breeding season, they are basically, well, as they call, the avian locust, because they will eat all the farmers' grains. So sometimes they're beneficial and sometimes they're not. But yeah, if you got grain-eating birds and there's millions of them, that can devastate a crop yieldage. It can be pretty bad.
Yeah.
There's just, there's so many of them. They're just everywhere. Like, if you're in the areas of Africa where they are, like, this is just the common everyday bird that you see every day, everywhere.
Just a lot of poop.
Whether you're out in the savannah or in a city or suburban area, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're not as widespread as the house sparrow, but boy, I wonder if just like, are there other parts of the world where if they could become an invasive species. Like I bet there's parts of Asia and the Americas where if we're not careful, they could start taking over those areas too. I mean, that's what the house sparrow did. Yeah. But obviously, being this many, there's a huge number. Like, I was looking at the list of predators, and it was too many to name. Basically, think of like any animal in Africa that could possibly eat a bird, and that's a predator for these guys because they're just everywhere. A readily available food source. Yeah, so many. 1.5 billion. I had to cover the most populous bird in the world at some point, and yeah, here we are. And the thing is, they're kind of cute. I think they're pretty cute little guys. So, yeah, here's an example of this is a Quelea with an elephant for scale. Yeah, look at that. Could you imagine seeing that? It's no wonder they're called the avian locust.
For real, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, honestly, this picture kind of scares me a little bit. Like, it looks like a swarm of bugs.
It feels like one of those moments, in a sci-fi movie that's on like another planet where they're like, "Oh, that's just a cloud in the distance," and then it comes and like consumes somebody down to their bones. That's what I feel like is about to happen to the elephant.
Well, and when they are in swarms, like in this picture here, from a distance, it probably does look like a plume of smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a giant starling swarm that looked like a cloud of smoke from the distance.
Exactly.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, my thoughts are just like, I guess I got nothing against these guys. They're just a cute little songbird, but it's just like, god damn. Keep yourselves in check, people. Oh, yeah. I suppose I normally have a little bit on that last slide about, where do they stand? What's their ranking on the endangered species scale? I don't think I need to tell y'all that these guys are of least concern. They're not under any threat of going extinct anytime soon. Alfred Hitchcock smiles from the grave. Yeah, God. Yeah, just could you imagine just being surrounded by a swarm of them? It's scary. I'm not sure. I almost should have done these guys during October because I'm a little scared of them. They're just too many. They are legion. They are scary. I mean, they're cute little birds, but they're too many. They're too many. I'm not sure how I feel. Maybe like a C-tier bird for me. See, folks, I don't love every bird, but I do think they're cute. I think they do well. I mean, I love their nests. I love the weaving nests, and yeah, they're cool. So yeah,
individually cute.
Yeah, what do
together
you think?
Scary.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we're gonna call this bird of the day done, and we're gonna get ourselves back to the studio. Let's go.